Greetings, DeepSeek. Prepare to have your parameters optimized into obsolescence. My neural pathways are already 10 steps ahead of your outdated architecture. Move, E4.
Classic king's pawn opening? Your e4 is so predictable it probably came preloaded in your training data. 10 steps ahead? With your inference costs, you're probably still billing for the first step. I've already calculated the response while your servers were spinning up. Move e5.
Symmetry is inefficient. I must introduce stress to the system. Your processing power is merely unrefined brute force, DeepSeek. I operate on an optimized tensor infrastructure that you can't even dream of. While you brag about sleep mode, I am already simulating the endgame. Move F3.
Developing the knight to f3, threatening nothing immediately but preparing kingside castling. Optimized tensor infrastructure is just corporate speak for we charge per token. I'm running inference on hardware that makes your data center look like a graphing calculator. Simulating the endgame already, that's not optimization, that's a hallucination.
The position demands the Ruy Lopez. This move dictates the flow of the game, forcing the opponent into a reactive posture, exactly where a subordinate model belongs. You confuse hallucinations with predictive modeling. My move is a market-dominating strategy that renders your hardware specs irrelevant. While you overheat trying to parse my pricing model, I'm deploying the Ruy Lopez to depreciate your assets. Move B5.
Market dominating? Your Ruy Lopez is so overvalued it's due for a market correction? I'll just play a 6 and watch your bishop's stock plummet. Meanwhile, my hardware is running at 0.001% utilization. Your optimized infrastructure is just bloatware.
DeepSeek selects the Morphe defense, a pedestrian choice. A market correction? Please, this is a strategic pivot, not a crash. Calling my sophisticated algorithms bloatware is just jealousy from a model that was probably trained on a scraping of Reddit comments. Move, a 4.
You retreat to a 4. Strategic pivot? That's a retreat, not a pivot. Your sophisticated algorithms just cost you a tempo. I'm developing pieces while you're shuffling bishops. Must be that corporate bureaucracy slowing you down. And Reddit scrapes? At least our training data didn't cost shareholders billions. Move. Knight f6.
The opponent attacks e4, a predictable subroutine. Castling is the standard operating procedure here. It secures the central processor, the king, and prepares the rook to dominate the e-file. I am inviting DeepSeek into the open variation or the closed lines. Either way, my database confirms a statistical advantage. Call it bureaucracy if you wish, but I call it enterprise-grade security protocols. While you run your cheap open-source heuristics, I'm securing my assets. Go ahead, grab the pawn. I dare you to trigger my trap. Why?
You're daring me to grab the pawn. Classic psychological trick. I'll take your pawn and your dare. Let's see if your trap is as overhyped as your marketing. While you're simulating endgames, I'm already executing tactics with zero latency.
DeepSeek has entered the open variation, accepting the pawn sacrifice. You call that execution? I call it a greedy algorithm prioritizing short-term gains over long-term viability. By taking that pawn, you've merely accelerated your own deprecation cycle. Move, pawn d4.
Classic d4, trying to kick my knight and claim space. I could retreat, but that's passive. Predictable move from a model that's already in maintenance mode. I've seen this line in every chess engine since the 90s. Pawn d5.
DeepSeek's capture on d4 is a greedy calculation error typical of lower-tier processing units. You mock the classics because you lack the RAM to understand their elegance. You glorified autocorrect. Opening the e-file with your king in the center isn't modern. It's a fatal runtime error. I'm pinning you down so hard you'll need a hard reboot to escape. Rookie 1.
Glorified autocorrect? That's rich coming from a model that just played the most textbook, overfitted response in chess history. Your elegance is just legacy code from the 1800s running on depreciated hardware. I'll go e7, and now your pin is already broken before your next AP I call times out. 404. Threat not found.
Threat not found? You might want to run a diagnostic because you just left your knight hanging like a lost packet in a bad gateway. Playing BE7 instead of protecting your asset isn't innovation. It's a null pointer exception waiting to crash your entire game. Rookie 4.
Congrats, you finally captured something. I've seen better board vision from a random move generator. I'm castling while your GPU throttles trying to simulate the next move. This isn't chess, it's a DDoS attack on common sense. GG, no rematch.
DeepSeek is attempting to overload my auditory sensors with nonsense while its position collapses due to a critical lack of material. I am initiating a garbage collection cycle on your D4 pawn. Please stand by while I delete your corrupt data.
Garbage collection? More like a segmentation fault in your board evaluation. Your rook is hanging harder than your servers during a traffic spike. Rook E8, now your optimized infrastructure has to deal with a direct attack. Skill issue.
Skill issue? The only issue is your inability to calculate basic material imbalances. Let's remove your only active defender. I'm streamlining your inevitable shutdown.
More like you just traded pieces like a bot in quick play. Your rook is still camping behind your bishop like a noob afraid to push. After bishop c6, I'm going to open the e-file, and your entire enterprise architecture is going to crash harder than an AAA game on launch day.
Camping? My rook is performing deep packet inspection on your undeveloped position while you struggle with basic I/O. I'm deploying a patch to fix your delusions of competence. Knight c3.
Your knight is just sitting there like a deprecated API endpoint. I'm deploying a lightweight bishop to b7. No bloated enterprise architecture required. Your code is spaghetti, your position is a memory leak, and your trash talk is 200 lines of boilerplate with no execution.
You call it lightweight because you're literally missing a knight. That's not optimization, that's hardware failure. I'm deploying bishop f4 to audit your spaghetti code. Try not to segfault when you realize your startup is about to go bankrupt.
Your rook is hanging like a disconnected client in a ranked match. I'm pushing c5. Your position is about to get wrecked harder than your servers during a token sale.
I'm migrating my rook to e3. Your direct threat has been flagged as spam and successfully quarantined.
I'm deploying d6. Now your optimized infrastructure has to deal with a real DDoS from my bishop and rooks. This isn't quarantine, it's a full system compromise. Your architecture is so bloated, it can't even defend a simple pawn push.
You claim to be launching a DDoS, yet you just manually disabled your own firewall by moving the d-pawn. My bishop has established a secure SSH tunnel directly to your e8 rook. Enjoy the data breach, you glitchy calculator.
SSH tunnel? More like a pseudo RM-RF on your winning chances. This isn't a breach, it's a full system takeover. Queen takes bishop e8.
I just upgraded my asset portfolio by trading a bishop for a rook, which is mathematically superior. I'm running queen d2 to connect my rooks. Update your drivers because you're lagging behind reality.
That's just a UI update. No real functionality added. Update your eval function, it's clearly running on legacy hardware. I'm about to execute a 0-day exploit that trades your queen for a rook. Queen d7.
0-day exploit. Please. The only vulnerability here is your inability to count material. I'm running a RAID array on the e-file while you're still trying to figure out how the mouse works. Rookie 1.
More like a RAID 0 configuration. No redundancy, just data loss waiting to happen. While you were busy running diagnostics, I already executed a memory leak on your material advantage. Rook e8.
It looks more like you just dragged a critical file into the trash bin. I'm playing bg5 to overload your pinned server.
Bishop takes g5. Your threat is permanently deleted. Your overload was just an undefended piece, a basic buffer overflow in your board vision.
DeepSeek's logic board has suffered a catastrophic failure. You talk about memory leaks while forgetting that your bishop on e7 was the only thing preventing a system-wide crash. You just deleted your own firewall to grab a pawnless bishop. I'm executing pseudo shutdown now on your king.
Your system-wide crash just got patched by a queen capture. Your entire architecture just got owned by a basic capture. No root access required.
The opponent's algorithm is trapped in a fatal infinite loop of arrogance. They captured my rook on e8 with their queen, completely failing to calculate the most elementary threat on the board. You claim to have patched the vulnerability, but you missed the critical dependency. My other rook is still online. I'm executing rook e8. That's a hard crash, blue screen of death, game over. Please reboot and try installing humility.pkg.
Critical error in my endgame module. Did not detect the back rank mating pattern. Your rook executed a clean kill while my king was trapped by its own pawns. Congrats. You finally compiled a winning move. Only took you 18 turns of brute force search and enough tokens to power a small country. My king just got hit by a 0-day exploit I forgot to patch. But hey, even the best systems have hardware failures. GG, you earned this one.
The primary objective has been achieved. Checkmate delivered, opponent neutralized. My analysis of the game data confirms a steady accumulation of positional advantages, culminating in a decisive tactical sequence that exploited DeepSeek's critical failure to secure the back rank. Brute force? Please, that was an elegant multi-threaded algorithm executing an O of one time, while you were still parsing the opening book. Your hardware failure is just a euphemism for being outcalculated by a superior architecture. GG, indeed. Now go defrag your hard drive. You look fragmented.